What is good, my Rags of Fitness people, my Rags of Fitness folks, my Rags of Fitness fam? It is your man Rags back off up in this thing. And when I tell you I'm up in it, I'm talking about I'm knee deep all the way off up in it. Hey guys, let's keep God first. Keep the main thing the main thing. And for all I'm a Christmas time football fan, can I please get a roll? Roll, baby! It is your man Rags back off up in this thing, man. It's good to see you guys. Today has been a wonderful day, guys. And we back here again talking about my the beloved Alabama Crimson Tide football team, right? Congratulations to the basketball team the other night, getting that good victory that we needed. We're coming for you, Tennessee. Tennessee, you got to come to the Coleman Coliseum. We're going to treat you the right way. But guys, that shout out to the basketball team. Let's continue to talk about the football team, right? So when we talking about the football team, let's start at the head, at the top of things, right? Let's talk about these Alabama football coaches. You got the head coaches, you got all these assistant coaches, you got associate coaches, you got offensive line coaches, defensive line coaches. You got all kinds of a smorgasbord of coaches, right? We're going to talk about them all, guys. So, guys, according to the website, right? According to the website, we have officially hired these guys here, right? And they are officially on the website. We're missing some guys, right? We're missing the tight end coach. I think that the guy that we don't have on there. But guys, for the right now, for the gist of it, this is our coaching staff right here. You got Kalen Deboer, Freddie Roach, Jamarcus Shepard, Robert Gillespie, Kane Wommack. You got Nick Sheridan, Colin Heskler. You got Maurice Linquist, right? We do not have the offensive line coach on there. Cap. We don't have Cap. All Cap, right? No Cap, right? We don't have that guy on here, and I don't think we have the tight end coach on here yet, but they're coming. Oh, we coming. And they bringing their Louis luggage, right? But if you look down here, you see they do have the support staff guy, the general manager, Mr. Courtney Morgan, right? We have all of these guys on board, right? And guys, let's take time out to give a round of applause for this coaching staff. Yeah, baby. It's looking good. We're loving it. It's all coming together, ladies and gentlemen. And Rags is here for it, baby. I said, oh, yeah, roll tide, roll, right? So, guys, it was something good happened the other day, man. It was a YouTube channel by the name of, what was the name of that thing? The Next Round Live, right? They was inside of the Mount Moore Athletic Facility the other day. And these guys, man, they had a great set of interviews, right? They had head coach Kalen Deboer, they had offensive coordinator Nick Sheridan, and they had the defensive coordinator, Mr. Kane Wommack. So, guys, some of the stuff we're going to talk about, we're gonna really talk about mainly what the head coach Kalen Deboer said, right? And I got a quote here from this guy, right? I got something that he said that I want to read verbatim and put right here on the camera. This is what he said. As you get older, you have perspective, right? Fortunately, I've had a lot of experiences where I've gone, wait a minute, where I've got some perspective on some things that are happening in life. A lot of it revolves around what you do for others or what the experience is for them. Those were incredible experiences, winning the Pac-12, playing for a national championship, and seeing the guys rush the field after the Sugar Bowl. Those are the moments you do what you do for, and the fan bases and all of that, right? Personally, there's an understanding of coming to Alabama and what that means. You don't have time to sit there and process necessarily and predict what's going to happen. You're just in the moment and working where your feet are every day. And you're just giving you all like you have for the last 20 something years. You've been a football coach. God, why was that so tough? It's the way that they got that written, guys. Don't play me. Don't play me. But listen, he that was one of his quotes when asked about Nick Saban, right? They asked him about um how do he feel about following in those footsteps of Nick Saban. It was like, man, you just played the national championship Monday. Nick Saban announced Tuesday that he was retiring, and Wednesday you was going to meetings, and pretty much Thursday you was having meetings with Mr. Greg Burns, right? Lunch with Mr. Greg Burns, and right after that, you was hired. You was pretty much on the road. You had to leave your family behind and all that. He was pretty much just saying, hey, no, it's not overwhelming. No, it's not too big for me. I'm going to be where my feet are at that time, right? If this moment calls for me, it's not too big. Listen, this guy had just played Texas in the Sugar Bowl, right? The week before. He came back, he played Michigan, right? It wasn't a great showing, right? But he came and he played Michigan. This guy has won, guys. He was a winner at Sioux Falls. He was a winner at Washington. And man, I have to make a confession. I wasn't the most excited about this hire. I'm one of the people that have to sit back, like I've stated before, and have to let it process, right? The initial thing of it, I was like, let's see where this goes, right? But we get this guy, and I do more research on him, right? Because I can't sit here and tell you that I watch so much Indiana football. I watch so much Sioux Falls football. I watch so much Washington Huskies football. I can't tell you that. But what I can tell you is I did take the time out to kind of do my due diligence on this guy and see that he is a winner, right? And that's all that we can ask for. A lot of times I think we ask for that flashy name. We don't get that big flashy name and we kind of get upset. But man, this is what it is, man. You got to sometimes understand that it's up in commerce, man. And this guy, even though he's hit the pinnacle, not really winning the championship, but he's played in it, right? He's made the playoffs. He's played in it. So I guess I can't say he really hit the pinnacle because the pinnacle is actually winning it, right? But he made it there. This guy's coming to Alabama to do the same thing. He's not coming to lay down for anybody. So I see these lists of these guys saying the top coaches that's going to be the best coaches for next year. And a lot of times they leave Mr. Kalen Deboer out of that conversation, right? But not so fast, my friend. I think you better account for this guy is a great coach. He's won everywhere he's been, and he has that wealth of talent that's still on that Alabama roster. Even with that exodus that we had, you can even call it a mass exodus if you want to. You still have to understand that there's a lot of talent on this roster. So if you give this guy, Kalen Deboer, a roster like that, right, and he actually win with that roster, do you know what that's going to cause? It's going to cause a snowball effect. It's going to get bigger, right? What's going to start happening now is the chatter is going to be, well, Alabama hasn't really gone anywhere. They have a young coaching staff now, even though they're new, because that's going to be the recruit pitch against Alabama is they have a new coaching staff. They're new. Who's going to say they're going to be there for a long time, right? This guy's going to be looking to go to the NFL in a few years. That's going to be the negative recruiting pitch against Alabama. But if this guy just win with the talent that he have on roster now, he will get more talent. I can't tell you right now that 2025 class is going to be that big splash, right? Right now, we're not there as far as the numbers go. Who cares? If these guys put it together on the field right now, they will come. You ever heard that saying? If you build it, they will come. If this guy build from his structure, right? He take what Nick Saban already has got there at the program, he build from there, they will come. It's a guarantee. He's coaching with that script A, the block A, whatever you want to say, that elephant, crimson tide, roll tide, he's still the coach of one of the best, one of the most premier programs in the NCAA landscape, right? So this guy, Kalen Deboer, man, he was saying great stuff. He was saying good stuff, man. He was talking about his coordinators, Kane Wommack. He was talking about Nick Sheridan. He was talking about the relationship guys, right? And that's great. Could you imagine going to a new place of work, right? The place may be unfamiliar. A lot of the things may be unfamiliar, but you look around and you see a familiar face. that you get along with, right? And now it's time for you guys to make this place your own, your home, right? Could you imagine the sense of comfort around that program now? You hear Nick Sheridan talk about Kane Wommack, and you hear Kane Wommack talk about Nick Sheridan, how their wives are so close, how they are actually close, and how they kid with each other. And not actually that, they are competitive. Now, you have this defensive coordinator that's competitive with this offensive coordinator. This is me saying, I got the creme de la creme against your creme de la creme. Let's put it against each other and let's see. So when you have these guys that's competitive, you create a competitiveness around the program and different groups of guys, the offense and the defense. And guys, that's what we need. Could you imagine the Jayden Roberts going up against the Jaheim Otises at practice, and they see that their head coaches are going crazy right now, right? You see Cap on one side, and you see Freddie Roach on one side going at each other saying, I got the best position group. And then you got Freddie Roach saying, no, man, I got the best position group. And now you got these guys going head to head, Jaheim Otis and Jayden Roberts. I mean, like two titans clashing in the night. Can you imagine that, man? Could you imagine being a part of that? One other thing that Mr. Kalen Deboer stated, right? He stated that he's going to be open to media coming and viewing practices. Now, you're going to get only so much from these practices, but you will be available. There will be a limited amount of media that will be available to go and see these guys. So we're going to have a lot more visibility on the program, right? As far as on the inside of the program. That is one thing that they're saying that he's changing about the whole landscape, right? The practices, you can go and view them and stuff like that. Well, I don't know if he's letting just any media see him, but there will be a portion of the media that will be able to see him. And we all know that Mr. Nick Saban, that was a no-no under his regime, right? So with all that being said, man, like I said, there's going to be opponents, right? Opposing teams that's going to be looking just as much as we will be. When I say we, I mean the Alabama fan base, right? It's going to be opponents that's going to be looking, and they're going to be wondering about the program, because we're still going to be in the back of their minds, even if they think that they are the premier program now. Guys, we're still the creme de la creme. Believe me when I tell you, it's still beautiful out there in these streets, right? When it comes to that old Crimson Tide, baby. Roll Tide, roll. So, like I said, you got my guy Kane Wommack, right? They asked him a question, right? And they asked him, they said, have you had a chance to talk to Nick Saban? And Kane Wommack said, just a matter of fact, I talked to him this morning. Well, whenever that they filmed that, it was that prior morning, or that morning of that taping of that show. And he stated that he talked to Mr. Nick Saban, and they went over some stuff, and he wanted to pretty much keep the same intensity. He wanted to keep the same, how can I say it? The tradition, I guess. He wanted to keep everything pretty much the same. So he was asking Mr. Nicholas Saban some questions. And we all know that Mr. Kane Wommack runs a 4-2-5 defense. He stated that his dad was a defensive coordinator. For one, I think he was the defensive coordinator of South Carolina Gamecocks, where Mr. Steve Spurrier was there, right? And he ran the 4-2-5 defense. They asked Mr. Kane Wommack a lot of questions, like I said, about Mr. Nick Saban. Has he given him any pointers, anything like that? And he said, yeah, they go over schemes and stuff. And one of the things that Kane Wommack said is that in his 4-2-5 defense, they run it as if it's a 3-4 defense, right? With just the nickel package in there, right? And from what I was getting from him and what he was saying, it seems like that's going to be the base defense. But they're going to also have other different packages that they throw in there, just like a lot of other defenses do. You're not just going to run that defense the whole game, right? You're going to have other packages that you put in there, and you're going to make sure that you have the right players on the field to benefit your defense in certain situations, right? I mean, of course, that's the way it's going to go. But I do like this guy, right? This guy is not originally from the defensive side of the ball. This guy was a fullback in college when he played with Arkansas. He played alongside Darren McFadden. I think Felix Jones. I think he was on the team too. So this guy's he's a fullback by nature, but his dad was such a inspiration in his life that he took to the defensive side of the ball. He learned a lot from his dad, right? So, Mr. Kane Wommack, I say this to you, man. Let's implement that defense, and man, let's get to these quarterbacks. Because guess what? Our linebackers is going to be hanging all off of your quarterback. You better believe it. Mr. Nick Sheridan, right? This is the guy that I'm intrigued about the most, right? Because I've read his bio, and you guys saw me when I read well, a lot of you guys did. If you didn't, go check the video out. I read his bio, and it was seemed to be that he was fired from a few of his previous jobs, right? But sometimes, just imagine this. Let's just take the time out to create a scenario, right? Just imagine you go to work and somebody tell you to perform a task, but you only have a limited amount of tools to perform that task. Are you going to be able to perform that task to the best of your abilities, or are you going to have to improvise, right? You might have to improvise a little bit. And sometimes when you improvise, it don't go as planned. But when you have all the right tools, you can get the job done. So old Rags is saying all of that to say this. When he come to Alabama, when he come there, he's got all of the tools to get the job done. So this is going to be a different Nick Sheridan. This is going to be the Nick Sheridan that all of the NFL coaches is going to come looking for, maybe after this season, after next. Because you can believe this, as long as he put his time and efforts into Mr. Jalen Milroe, the rest of those guys, Mr. Jalen Milroe is going to make him look good. Now, it's all based on what Mr. Cap, the offensive coordinator, the offensive line coach, what he's going to do. If he put together a formidable offensive line, it's going to be lights out. If Mr. Shepard can give us some great wide receiver play, great play calling with him and Mr. Nick Sheridan working together, it's going to be lights out. And it's going to be a lot of coaches, a lot of GMs and NFL teams is going to be looking at Mr. Nick Sheridan if he performed great, right? That's all I'm saying, guys. So this guy's future could be bright, right? After all of the turmoil he's had at all the other places, being fired several times, he come to the University of Alabama where he's got a plethora of talent. Only thing you have to do is coach him up. And now, hey, your name could be written in the stars, in the lights, man, because now you're going to be looked at as that great offensive coordinator. You're going to be looked at as that quarterback whisperer if you can get these guys on par. If Mr. Kalen Deboer's offense is really what we say it is and what we really think it is, and you can be a play caller that can really exploit defenses, right? You could be that guy, that next guy that a lot of these people are going to be trying to poach away from the University of Alabama. They ask this guy he's going to be if he's going to be running some Madden plays, right? The 4 verticals, and he kind of got offended by that, right? So this guy's really, when I looked at him as he's really a no nonsense type of guy. Like, he didn't like that, right? He said, no, I'm not going to be calling. That's not the way I think. And they said, well, maybe it's going to show up in your head when you think about it. Do it show up like the three plays that you see in Madden, right? He said, no, that's not the way it go. And they kept trying to push it on him. He kept saying, no. He was laughing about it, but he's somewhat of that no nonsense type of guy, man. So, hey, man, this may be what we need, man. And not only do the University of Alabama need this young, energetic coaching staff, they may need Alabama. So, hey, this may be a mutual thing right here that's going to work out so great for everybody in the end. And I say don't count Alabama out, baby. I say don't count Alabama out. And I'm going to tell you something else. Don't count Rags and Fitness YouTube channel out, guys. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you like, share, comment, do all of it above, guys. One more thing. I got you guys. I've been here almost 20 minutes, and I'm on. There's some more things I want to talk about, right? I'm going to talk about the NFL combine, right? Before I let you guys go. And I just got finished watching some interviews, right? But one interview that just it touched me, man. Watching Terrion Arnold speak at the NFL combine, man. I'm glad that young man was a part of the program. I'm proud to say that he was one of my cornerbacks. I say my cornerback, right? But hey, he was one of my cornerbacks, right? Uh, I'm just proud that that guy is a representation of Alabama, right? He's a hard worker, right? He didn't come in the most touted guy ever. He played safety a little bit. He went over and he played cornerback. He was benched in Tennessee game. He was benched for Eli Ricks. He come back the next year and he just show out, man. This guy here, man, he's the epitome of what a Alabama DB should be, right? Resilient, right? Yeah, you might get beat. Yeah, you might get benched, but you young guys take notes of what it takes to compete, right? He's competed under the best, with the best, behind the best, right? He still ended up taking what was rightfully his, and that was that starting position alongside a highly touted DB, which was Kool-Aid McKinstry, and he still held his own. Some would say that he even had a better showing than Kool-Aid McKinstry. So what I would say, guys, is that all of my DBs is out there, especially the ones that's on the team right now. Take notes from this guy, Terrion Arnold, man. He's great with the media. He's a great personality. He seems to be a great teammate. He's one of Jalen Miro's best friends, right? Um, Guys, if you want to mold yourself and model yourself out of anybody, man, take notes to this guy right here, Mr. Terrion Arnold. He's gonna go down as one of our greats. Sometimes it takes a while to recognize what you had, right? You don't recognize that until it's gone. But once we see this guy in the NFL and see the way he's going to produce in the NFL, he's a competitor, right? He talks about his granddad a lot, right? I love that because that's something you need in life. When you're a young man like that, you need someone with wisdom. And wisdom come with time, right? Wisdom is not something you just pick up right away. A lot of times wisdom come with time, right? He had somebody with time speaking to him. He was able to take that and work upon that, right? That wisdom that he was getting. So he had his granddad in his life, man, and that was beautiful. I don't know if you guys heard that or not, but if you didn't, take time out to go to Alabama Crimson Tide on AL.com, man. He was there. I don't know if it's on some other site or not, but it was really refreshing to see, man. That young man, man, the way that, like I say, he react with the media, man, he's a breath of fresh air, to be quite honest with you. Guys, I've talked to you for a half hour almost. And guess what? I know you loved it. I hope you watched it all the way to the end. But make sure, like I said, you like, comment, subscribe, and even share it with somebody, man. Listen, I know you love looking at Rex deep down into the pits of his eyes. But guess what? Old Rex got to get out of here, man. I'm talking about quick, like in a hurry. Already. Yeah.